Welcome back to STL Live. I'm Sarah Thompson, and my guest is Scott McIntosh. She's the Vice President of the Benton Park West Neighborhood Association. And thank you for being here and for talking about National Night Out and this big community rally and barbecue you're doing on the 2nd. But I want to kind of bring it back to the neighborhood, because are you St. Louis native? No.
I am not.
So when you moved to St. Louis and now moved to Benton Park West, what is it that you love about the neighborhood and why there?
When I moved from a small town to St. Louis, so I already felt like there were so many opportunities and great neighborhoods. And when I first came here, for my job, I was living in New City, but I discovered Cherokee Street and really just fell in love with it. I loved the architecture. I loved the vibe of the street. I of course, loved the people. And so I, made my plans and was looking for the right opportunity and purchased my home in Benton Park West. And ever since then, I've been a very active member of the community. I bought my house in September and then was elected that very next month to be a board member.
And here you are.
And here I am. Yeah, 6 years later.
And so when people describe, I know a lot of times when people are thinking of a neighborhood, they're trying to get a feel or the pulse of like what it's like. Is it better for young people? How is it for families? I mean, what do you say to people who are thinking about moving to the neighborhood? Is it a great place for all of those, or is it kind of more of the young, single, that sort of thing, or families?
I personally think it's a great neighborhood for everyone. We definitely have a lot of families, lots of kids. We've definitely seen probably a larger influx of younger folks. We've had a lot of great new restaurants and bars and art galleries and shops that have opened up. I think has been a little more geared towards that demographic. But certainly, it's a very inclusive neighborhood, and that's part of why people have been moving to Benton Park West, is they like that there's this great diversity and inclusion and openness to sort of new ideas and thoughts and feelings and interactions. And there's been a lot of really great creativity that's come out of Cherokee Street for our neighborhood, because that is probably one of the biggest assets of Benton Park West is Cherokee Street, and definitely that spirit of Cherokee Street that permeates our whole neighborhood in terms of just being creative and inclusive and diverse, and it's just been a wonderful thing.
And there's always the sort of, when you look at neighborhoods, there's sort of what you're seeing that's a result of the short term and what you're seeing that's a result of the long term. And I think some of our sort of like favorite neighborhoods in St. Louis, people have to take into consideration that it's like decades and decades of people such as you who are residents who got involved and helped really grow the neighborhood. I do want to talk about sort of crime and safety, because kind of the whole thing when you live in a neighborhood is feeling safe, right? That you can hang out on your front porch, be in your backyard late at night, do things like that. And that's kind of what this community rally is bringing together. Talk about how you sort of promote sort of safety and work on crime prevention in Benton Park West.
Sure, absolutely. So we participate in NOM, which is part of the city's program, the Neighborhood Ownership Model. And through that, there's a couple of different pieces in which you can participate. So one is being a citizen on patrol. So you do training with the police department, to where you go in pairs to pick a different day and time. You want to kind of vary it up a bit, to where you can go out and look for little things, potentially, is mostly what you will find that would turn into the Citizen Service Bureau, like street lights are out, overgrown lawns, a board up that's no longer secure that needs to be reboarded, secured again, things like that to help just minimize different crime issues. And simple stuff like keeping your porch light on, not leaving anything visible in your car that someone might want to break into it. Simple stuff like that, certainly. But then it can go from there. So we also participate with the Circuit Attorney's Office, so they sort of let us know about folks who've done crime in our neighborhood, who've been arrested and have been prosecuted, to where they are being sentenced, that we can write in letters to judges and actually show up in court as well to advocate for harsher sentencing, to send a message out to criminals like, you don't want to commit crime in our neighborhood, because if you get caught, you're going to have real consequences for those actions, and try to help deter it in that way.
So it sounds like you've got and people can learn more about how they can get involved at the community rally, correct?
Correct, yeah, absolutely.
Okay. So again, tell us the details about this event on August 2nd. We've got the graphic while it comes up.
Sure, so again, it's Tuesday, August the 2nd from 6 to 8 at our neighborhood garden, which is our flower garden, at 2802 Wyoming. And so when you're there, we can talk about some of the things we've addressed today, just real basic stuff you can do on a daily basis, to how you can, if you have the time and want to actively be more involved and do Citizens on Patrol or some of these other tactics that we do, help write letters to judges and things like that. We will
and you can also
talk
just
about
have,
that then too.
And have fun and get to know the neighborhood and get to know people with the barbecue.
Come,
it's great.
Eat, have a drink, hang out, let the kids play. That's what it's all about, learning more about just the community, the spirit, and
Yeah.
I think when you know your neighbors and you feel like you can like hang out with your neighbors,
Yeah.
have them over for a backyard barbecue on your own too,
Yeah.
it just makes it feel much more of like a real community and not just a place you live.
All right. Well, thank you so much for being here and sharing the information. Thank you.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. All right. Well, there's more STL Live right after this. Please stay with us.